is time for Around the 412 with Smitty and Tyler.
Welcome back to another episode of Around the 412. I am Tyler. With me, as always, is my co-host, Smitty. Be sure to go follow us on all of our social medias at Around the 412. While you're listening, go check out the description of the show. We've got Everything Custom Designs Facebook link. It's our friend Haley Wagner's small business. We like to give her a shout out on every show. We got customized clothing coming from her. You just missed out on the St. Patty's Day merch, but don't worry. I'm sure she's going to have some Easter merch, which is sneakily creeping up. It's an early Easter this year, so Go check that out. And get some customized clothing from her. You can get some Around the 412 merch as well from her. This is the Pirates show, and the Pirates season is less than a week away. We are officially in crunch time to the actual season.
You mentioned Easter creeping up. The MLB season is creeping up as well. I think they only have 5 more spring training games the Pirates do before they head to Florida to take on the Marlins in their season opener. Of course, they have 2 series on the road before coming home. But very excited for this season. We talked about it last week. Like, the lineup should provide for some fireworks. I think a lot of games are going to be fun. I'm not sure, that they have the rotation. But man, like, I've talked to a lot of people that are like, I think the Pirates have a chance, specifically because of the NL Central. Like, if they were in another division, maybe not, but as long as they can stay alive in the NL Central, they should have a shot, especially once they get Paul Skeens up this summer. And actually, we got some questions about Paul Skeens. We got questions about the rotation. So we will turn it over to the audience here, hitting us up with some questions, which, by the way, feel free to send us questions any time of the week, no matter what time you guys are listening to this. Just hit us up in the comments or tweet them at us at Around the 412, and we'll answer them on the next episode. So let's dive in. At RB3 says Pirates record prediction and breakout player for 2024. So we're going to be doing record predictions next week, but I don't want to leave RB3 hanging here. So I've gone back and forth with this. This team, I don't know if people they won 76 games last year. Like, we're talking about, we think they're going to be better. They have a better lineup this year, full season of Oneil Cruz, hopefully getting Skeens up here at some point to help out the rotation. Marco Gonzalez and Martin Perez are probably better than what, like, last year they finished with 2 legit starting pitchers. If they had Johan Oviedo this year, I'd feel a lot better about them. I think they're going to be in the mix. I will say 83 and 79.
83 and 79.
We'll do the breakout players after you give your record prediction.
Okay, so you're 2 games above 500. How much better or worse than 83 wins do I think the Pirates are going to be? Man, it's tough because a lot of this stems from the rotation. If the rotation is like dog water, it's really hard to think that they're going to win 83 games, even have a winning record, just because I think it's unfair to rely on your bullpen like that and to rely on them to win you games. But I do think that they're going to figure some stuff out in the rotation. Paul Skeens is going to be here before they know it. And also they did sign Domingo Germán to a lot of people's reluctance.
I don't know if we talked. That was just this last Friday, so it happened after our last show. But that did happen. He's not going to start in the majors. Obviously, with him just signing this late in the process, we'll see exactly when he gets up here. But yeah, I mean, he probably will, from a baseball perspective, probably is a better option than what they have on the back end.
Yeah, if I'm looking at it, it's tough. It's one of those. It's one of those things that it's like you understand why your organization does it from a baseball perspective, but you don't necessarily like it because of the individual. Sure. But I do think that as far as baseball goes, he's probably better than some of your back end rotation guys that you currently have. So sooner or later, I think he will be at the MLB level. I'll go a game under yours. I'll go 82. 82 wins. 82 and
so we both have him over 500.
Yeah. Over 500. I do think they're going to, because I mean, realistically, they're only 6 games away from being over 500. I know 6 games can be a tall task, but if the way we've talked about this team, I don't think it's that far out of the question to say that's going to be possible.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. Breakout player. I did the record first. I'll let you go first on breakout player. I think this is very interesting. A couple names came to mind, but I'll be honest. If Endy Rodriguez doesn't get hurt, he might have been my pick for this.
I don't know if he had too many plate appearances or too many games played to be considered a breakout player for 2024, but I'm going to pick Henry Davis. The way he's been swinging in spring, and the you saw the glimpses last year to know that you have a good player. Obviously, the dog days of August and September, they have their wear on every player. He didn't have a stellar August, but I do think the way that he's swinging the bat this spring is good signs for the season to come. I think that he's going to be really good, and whether they have him in the outfield or behind the plate or whatever they want to do with him, I think that he's going to be a breakout player specifically for the bat, and then the defense is just a plus on top of wherever position he's playing. And he has the pedigree for it. I mean, he's the number 1 overall pick. I think that you're going to see him be a more consistent player at the MLB play this year. You get it for the entire season this time too. I'm excited to see what Henry Davis can do. I think that he's going to be a real star for the Pirates, and he's going to be one of their, like we talk about the young bucks and trust the buck and process, our slogan that since 28. I mean, he is those guys that is like the young bucks that are going to be the key pieces to this organization when we get to talking about who's going to be taking them to the postseason.
We keep talking about it, but man, we should really reignite that design and bring it back, because I feel like we were a little bit ahead of it last time. We thought maybe it was going to happen within that time frame, and it didn't.
Yeah.
So hopefully this next wave are the guys that actually bring that process to fruition. I'm going to go a little bit off the grid with mine, especially because you went Henry Davis. I was considering him, but let me throw out this name. Carmen Mlodzinski. How about a relief pitcher as a breakout player? I look at him last year, 2.25 ERA, 36 innings. So, limited work, obviously, at the MLB level, 34 strikeouts within those 36 innings, a 1.2 whip. And his field independent pitching was right around where his ERA was. So it wasn't like he was like getting super lucky either. I don't know, man. I'm a big believer in him. I think that he is a guy that could be a piece for this, bullpen going forward. I don't want to talk about like a potential David Bednar trade, but say that were to happen, I don't think Aroldis Chapman's obviously here for the long term either anyway. So Mlodzinski is kind of a guy that I'm looking at as like a future big piece of this bullpen. Why not kick that off in 2024? I'm not saying that he's going to necessarily challenge Holderman for like that 7th inning role in front of Chapman or Bednar. But I think like if something goes wrong, obviously, and there's going to be injuries that occur throughout the year, he's certainly a guy that can step up into higher leverage situations.
I like it. So the bullpen was one of the strengths of the team for me. I think they got a lot of good arms. He's one of them ones that is a young arm and a lot to prove still. And I like that pick. First
Sherrington pick to reach the majors. And obviously, when you're talking about a comp first round pick, he's not a starter, turned into a reliever. Obviously, he's been converted to that. But if he carves out a nice career for himself in the majors, I don't know that we're going to be looking back on it and thinking like, oh, we wasted a first round pick on this guy and he wasn't even a starter. Like it's becoming seemingly more and more of a long shot for guys to carve out MLB careers for themselves, regardless of where they're picked at. So, hey, I'll take it if this guy contributes at the major league level in a way that I'm kind of expecting him to do so. John says, if healthy, could Oneil Cruz be a dark horse for NL MVP? So the way that I think this question, the way that I take this, right, is because I'm not saying it has to happen, but we have the Pirates both winning 82 and 83 games, being above 500. Mm-hmm. If this team were to make the playoffs and Oneil Cruz has, Kutch like 2013 numbers, why not? I think the Pirates being in a higher position is what would determine something like this. I don't think that he could have crazy numbers. Like his spring has been ridiculous. He's like on pace for 130 homers with what he's done this spring. That's obviously not going to happen, but he could put up huge numbers. But if the Pirates aren't in competition, it's going to fly under the radar. If the Pirates make the playoffs, I think everybody views that as like, okay, wait, why are the Pirates good now? And then you look and see Oneil Cruz putting up these stellar numbers. That would be what puts him in the MVP conversation. It's going to be more about the team success for him, I think, than it would be anybody else.
I think it is about the team success because what's funny? Everybody talks about the 2013 MVP year for Kutch when 2012 was technically his best year. Statistically, he hit more home runs. Yeah. He had more RBIs. He had more hits. He had more. He had a better average, and he had a bigger
On a
slugging
worse team.
percentage, like on a worse team. And he finished third in All-Star vote or in MVP voting that year, first the following year, and his team won. And I mean, obviously, like he was slightly worse in 2013. I'm not saying that he was significantly worse, obviously, but I do think that there's a chance that they could be in the conversation for that, especially with the season that Oneil Cruz is seeming to have based off of the spring numbers. And I know spring numbers, take it with a grain of salt, but still, he looks like a man on a mission. And I'm talking about like a man. He looks like a man in spring training.
He has more 110-mile-per-hour hits this spring than teams did last year, all of last year. Like, it's ridiculous what he's capable of. And if he stays healthy, like he to me would be the reason that this team does win 80+ games and would be in the mix to win the Central or make a wild card. Like, he is kind of the driving force for that.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think maybe this is bullish, but based off what we've seen in spring, is it that outlandish to say that he could be the first Pirates player in? I don't even know who the last one to do it is. Barry Bonds. Who's the last Pirates player to hit 40 home runs?
Ooh. So I'm gonna have to Google this.
I mean, is it Barry Bonds? I'm not saying that nobody in the. I'm not trying to like downplay.
I don't
anybody
mean Willie Stargell.
Now.
Willie Stargell, 1973. I say I doubt Barry Bonds did it. Pedro hit 36 in 2013. That would be as close as we've gotten.
Okay. Barry Bonds' highest on the Pirates was 34. He hit 46 the next year in San Francisco.
He had.
He started shoveling a needle up his butt too.
He had 8 seasons of 40+. Pedro had 36. Oh, Josh Bell had 37 in 2019. What was I thinking? They have a lot. Like Brian Giles had back-to-back 37, 38. He had 39 actually in 99. But yeah, nobody's hit 40 since.
I mean, is it that outlandish to think that that's that's on the table for Oneil Cruz this year? I know he's not just a home run hitter, which I'm happy about. I think that's a good thing. But the way he's swinging the bat, man, I don't think it's out of the question. I think
too. Yeah, the question is he going to hit him high enough with the Clemente wall, being that he's a left-handed hitter?
That's true.
Going against the right field wall. I think he's going to hit a bunch off of it. And I certainly think he's going to go over his original number of like 24.5 or whatever the bet.
Imagine him in Yankee Stadium for half the year.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Or even at Fenway with that very short right field.
Yeah.
Like either one of those ballparks, I think that he would definitely hit 40. The question for me is going to be can he elevate to celebrate enough? Can he do that 40 times at PNC Park? I think he'll be right in that mix. Like I think like somewhere between if somebody was like, how many home runs is Oneil Cruz going to hit in 2024? The number that I've had in my mind is 33.
33. I mean, that's a respectable number, especially if he's hitting like 320 and gets on base at a 440 clip and wins the MVP. I mean, I'm not going to complain. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to complain if that's the case. But he's currently in spring training. And listen, guys, I know spring training is spring training. It is what it is. But he's in his at bats over 20% of the time he's hitting a home run.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Nathan says, and this is a good one. I think the Bucks' April/May results will determine the timing of Steen's call-up. Knowing Steens is likely a Pirate for 6-ish years, if they start horribly, is it possible that they wait until 2025 to call him up for control purposes? You think the Bucks make us wait until 2025? So the thing is, like, they still have the year of control. They still have 6 years of control. Like, this year would not count as a year of control as long as they wait until after that Super 2 date. So it's not about keeping him down the entire season. It's about keeping him down until sometime in June when they can bring him up. So I don't think it's realistic that they'll wait that entire year. Now, I don't see this happening.
I agree with the first part of what he's saying. That April and May are going to determine when he comes up. And we talked about that.
Yeah, like if they struggle out the gate, will they maybe give him more seasoning? Or would it be like, oh, wait, no, we're playing okay, but the rotation is struggling. We need one more arm. Could that elevate the timeline. Like it's all very interesting.
It's
to
the
me.
tough part because I think
but-
that a lot of when he comes up will have to do with the mindset of management on how they're viewing this team in the place that they're at, because they're viewing this team as a winner, and they can clearly see that, okay, our lineup's good, our bullpen is good whenever we get away from our rotation, but our rotation is what's killing us. Then yeah, I think that they have a mindset to take that and call them up. But if they're still stuck in the prehistoric ways of waiting till Super 2, and it doesn't matter about whatever you're contending from the beginning of April all the way until the mid-June, as long as you wait till that date, then that's fine. We can call them up. Then obviously they're going to wait. So I think this has a lot more to do with what management is thinking about the team as opposed to what the team is actually doing on the field. Because while I do think that what the team's doing on the field plays into it, I think a lot of it is just, are they greedy enough, or they're willing to sacrifice that year of control and bring him up early, or are they going to be the Pirates that they typically are and just wait?
So is this Paul Skeens? Is this a good benchmark? Is this a good barometer to show you that they have changed? Is this 100%. Going to be a way for them?
100%. And the reason being is he should be in the MLB club right now. I understand why he's not. Anybody that covers the Pirates, anybody that knows anything about baseball and then knows anything about the Pirates could have told you that there is no chance that Paul Skeens was going to start at the MLB level this season. Doesn't mean he's not going to be here at the beginning of May or mid-May, but to start the season, no chance he was going to be there. But I do think that if they bring him up pre-June or pre-Super 2, it could be like the first week of June, but if they bring him up before that date, I do think that would give me the right decision for the Pirates to make me think that they're going to have changed a little bit. Obviously, I'm not going to put all my trust in them after that, but I do think that would be a sign to me to say that, like, okay, their mindset is slightly different, because in years past, they would have just waited.
Well, and here's the thing, too. They probably could have halted this conversation. I mean, you would have had people pushing for Skeens anyway. But if they would have added more impact arms than they did for the rotation, I think there'd be less people calling for Skeens out the gate. Like if you had 5 guys that you felt really good about going into the regular season, like, I don't know. I think most people would understand the idea of waiting on Skeens, but because of what the rotation looks like without him, you're wondering, what the heck are we doing? Like, he's certainly one of their 5 best pitchers, which actually brings us in to our last question. So I'll just bring it up and we can continue the conversation. Caleb says, who would your starting pitching rotation be to begin the year, given that only Keller, Perez, Gonzalez seem to be guarantees right now? Jared Jones certainly is that 4th guy for me. I think he's looked good enough this spring. I think there's enough smoke there to feel pretty confident about it too. They did that prospect showcase against the Orioles, and 9 out of the Pirates' top 10 prospects were involved in that. The exception was Jared Jones, and I think it was because they know that he's making the big club out of the gate this year, which is awesome. That kind of shows what we were just talking about, maybe a little bit of a shift in philosophy and getting more aggressive with these guys, giving him a shot, feeling like he's ready. Also maybe speaks to what else are their options. You know, Bailey Falter, Ortiz, Contreras, Quinn Priester. Obviously, we talked about Domingo. He's not going to be ready yet out of the gate. Had they signed him like a month ago, he would probably be who I said, other than Jared Jones, as my 5th guy. So really, again, I'll slot Jared Jones in there as a 4th guy. So you got 1 spot open, and you got Quinn Priester, Ortiz, Contreras, and Bailey Falter for 1 spot here. And Bailey Falter's not part of this conversation. Like, you know, let me see one of these young guys that maybe have a little bit more upside for me. If they didn't have a lefty in Marco Gonzalez and Martin Perez, maybe, but you already have your lefties that you need to have as part of the equation. So I probably lean Ortiz over Contreras a little bit based off spring training results, a little bit off what I think the upside is there. So yeah, I think that I would go with Keller, Perez, Gonzalez, Jared Jones, and Luis Ortiz.
So I'm taking all the realism of what the Pirates are going to do out of it, and I'll answer the question how I would do it. To hell with the Super 2, and to hell with the year with of control. Yeah. I'm bringing Paul Skeens up. Mitch Keller, you're number 1. Paul Skeens, guess what? You're number 2. I don't think there's any debate for that. I would also keep Martin Perez. I would also keep Jared Jones. And then let's see, how many did I have? 4 with that. So I'd probably keep Marco Gonzalez after that.
Yeah.
And you got your lefties, and then you got your 3 righties.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he did say, what would we do? So you're right. That 100% could have been my answer. Taking into account that he's already been sent down and they said he's not starting in the majors, I was answering that, but that's fair. I mean, if Paul Skeens were to start in the majors, I obviously would not have any qualms about it, and it would make me feel a lot better about the situation and not having to feel like we're just biding time until he gets here. So we'll see how things shake out, but I'm excited for it. We appreciate the questions that were Pirates related. Let's keep those coming because sometimes we really struggle to come up with Pirates topics. So that was great. Thanks to the 5 questions that we got in. Pirates related. Keep those coming, of course. Tyler, do you have anything else Pirates related? We have one more show before the season kicks off.
Shout out to us for being top 60 on Pirates Twitter. And shout out to Smitty for being number 45 on Pirates Twitter.
I have a lot of gripes with that list.
But I will say, if you're number 45, the bar after the top 10 is below the dirt. If we're talking Pirates quality, we're just keeping it real.
Actually, let me bring this up real quick. This is where we can end the show. We'll talk about this list because, man,
I mean, Cody Duncan.
Not trying to fire. 2. Yeah, I'm not trying to fire shots at anybody here, but what are we doing? Cody Duncan number 2. Mark Madden's on the list. Pittsburgh Dad is on the list. He doesn't talk about the Pirates. Like,
where is Mark Madden?
I'm pulling it up right now. So
okay,
give me 1 sec.
I know we're 60. You're 45. I know it was
Mark Madden is 24.
Mark Madden. What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I have a lot of issues with this list. No comment on number 4.
How's Ben Stronium 14?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I don't really have a ton of issue with this first column outside of like 2. I mean, yeah, you're right. Ben Stonium should be higher. Cody Coleman at 26. What are we doing? Cody freaking Coleman at 26. Why? Because he's with NS9 now? What are we doing? This guy said that the Pirates were dead to him like 2 years ago.
Hold on. I was just saying, if you're at 45 and around the 412s is 60, you're telling me I didn't make the bottom 25? What are we doing here?
I mean, there's people that aren't. We'll let's go. Like I said, we're going from left to right. We're going through these.
Who is Sax Boy? Is that the Sax dude outside the games?
This is the guy that made the list.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh well.
I'm
roasting him for not putting me on.
Colin Dunlap at 35. I mean, I like the actual Pirates are 39.
Okay. How is Stilo City only at 65?
Right. Yeah,
that dude's one of the biggest Pirates fans on Twitter.
Right. Yeah.
And that's hard to get.
I also appreciate that, like, didn't know it just says NS9 Tyler, NS9 Neil. Okay, so now we're in the third one, which we are in around the 412 at 60, which I'll even we talk about the fact that, we're not the most knowledgeable in baseball. We're kind of just 2 fans that are idiots and sometimes talk about the game, but I appreciate the fact that we're even included on the list, but we are above Stilo City, which I don't want to be.
What, you're above Stilo City? And
I'm above Stilo City by 20 spots. We as a collective are above him by 5.
I'll be honest. How are you above Mitch right now? Mitch Nagy's at 48. How are you above him at 45?
I don't know what the criteria was. This dude's
one of the biggest Pirates fans I know.
Yeah, absolutely. I do not know what the. By the way, Gary Morgan not on the list.
I mean, what are we doing?
Tone Diggs, 7. I don't know that I've seen him talk about baseball.
How is Rum Bunter not lower than 62?
Yeah. Chris Mahler's on here. Pat McAfee, who has never said a good word about the Pirates, at 79.
Yeah, you're telling me that I couldn't have been 79?
Frank Fleming. Do you know who Frank the Tank is from Barstool?
Yeah.
He's a Mets fan. He's on here, 83.
Dude, wait, hold on. You're telling me Rob like, I understand people have their issues with Rob Biertemple. He blocks me on Twitter. But you're telling me that a guy that covers the Pirates for The Athletic is 80?
Yeah. Brian McElhaney, too, by the way, 84, criminally underrated. He should be much higher. Same with Vinny, does all the memes. Vino 202.
Chilling with Deke?
Yeah, why? Why is he on here?
Why? Has he ever talked about the Pirates?
Kelsey at 11, like, she's one of the biggest Pirate fans I know. And a collector of a bunch of, like, this is criminally underrated at 94. Yeah.
Have Chilling with Deke or Arthur Moats ever said anything good about the Pirates?
Yeah. I don't know. Sportsnet Pittsburgh, the literal home of the Pittsburgh Pirates, is at 88. Pittsburgh dad at 87 is disgusting to me for several reasons. 87 is such a coveted number in this city. That should not be the number that he was given. I would have rather have been lower
Pirates
on the list.
Fan Forum, we are only one spot behind Pirates Fan Forum. Put that in perspective.
Yeah, and like I said, Gary didn't even individually make the list. Jim's on here. Jim's number 19.
Gary didn't individually make the list, but he is the Pirates Fan Forum. Mm-hmm. And we have openly said, like you said, that around the 412, we are just a bunch of, when it comes to baseball, we're just a bunch of fans that are idiots and don't know what we're talking about, but we enjoy baseball. We are one spot, guys, who know a ton about baseball and talk about it at a legitimate level. I mean, yeah. this list is off its rocker. It's great.
Yeah, that was fun though, going through that. So I mean, yeah, shout out to Sax Boy for putting this together. We aren't where we should be. I'm not where I should be, but I appreciate it. That's all I got on it.
That's probably one of the only times you would ever say you're not where you should be, and you mean that you should be lower.
That's true. I mean, hey, if somebody wants to put one of these together for Steelers Twitter, I'm expecting top 10. Like, I'm not taking no 45 on Steelers Twitter. Can't have it. But anyway, we're gonna get out of here. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you guys know when we post anything. If you are a Steelers or Penguins fan as well, be sure to go check out those episodes. Hit us in the comments with any questions for a future episode, thoughts on anything that we talked about. We want you guys' opinion as well. Let us know what you guys think about that top 100 list. We need you, and everybody, if they want to put out their own rankings like Sax Boy, if you want to take the time to do a top 100 of your own, I would be very encouraged to see that. And I also, yeah, and I want to also know what the thought process was. That is my biggest thing. Like, how were
what's the criteria?
Yes. So if you do one, let me know. And also, Sax Boy, shoot me a DM because I'm very curious what the process was for doing this. If you're listening somewhere else, leave us a 5-star review, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. Of course, follow us everywhere at Around the 412. Everything Custom Designs, the link in the description, whether you're listening somewhere or watching on here. Our friend Haley Wagner, small business, custom t-shirts, hoodies, all that good stuff. And of course, Keach Barbershop, located at 401 Burkitch Way, Suite 2 in Beaver, PA. Again, Keach Barbershop, 401 Burkitch Way, Suite 2 in Beaver, PA. Thanks for being a sponsor basically since the jump. Shout out to Christian for doing that for us. But for Smitty, for Tyler, this has been the Around the 412 Pirates Show. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.